Piers Morgan and Andrew Wilson are my absolute favourite debaters. They're fearless. They don't give a fuck what they say. They don't care if they hurt your feelings. And they will never, ever let anyone bring them down in a debate. So tonight, we are going to be watching Piers Morgan and Andrew Wilson take on 3 feminists. So, let's get to it. Roll the intro. Okay then, so we are going to get into the debate. Now, I have seen little snippets of this. So, yeah, I saw them on shorts and everything. So, I know how heated it gets, but I haven't seen all of it. So, you know me, I like to be surprised. So, you know what? Let's get to it. Let me just turn that on. All right, let's go.
You're just a shock jock, mate.
It's not psychic ability.
You're just pathetic. Nobody's going to listen to you. You're an aggressive, insecure man.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen.
We're not taking you seriously.
Well, this is going to go viral, and a lot of people are going to take me seriously, and all they're going to remember is that I told you that you couldn't put down the Dunkin' Donuts long enough to make an argument.
You all are fairly stupid.
Fucking hell.
And everything that's being said is just like a comedy show.
You think you can change your sex? How can you ever call anybody stupid?
Yeah, exactly.
John Oliver stirred controversy this week by hosting a special on what he calls a
Piers
right-wing
Morgan
obsession. Basically no advantage for male athletes and that men almost never beat women. On that same night, the UK Women's Pool Championship final was contested by two people who were born as men, not women. So who is obsessed?
Fucking hell.
Who is right? Well, we'll debate that, and we'll debate this too.
A lot of these men, these podcast hosts on the right, they like to think of themselves as these big masculine men. And what am I getting out of it? I can tell you this.
There's that feminism.
All right, I believe
I'm
in
women's
virtue,
coming
right?
out.
Yeah, there's the feminism. Oh,
I'm sorry. Did you want to speak over a man?
Yeah, I don't...
Inside of society, right this second, right? Masculinity is not only punished, but also women on the right. Covert feminists on the right are constantly and consistently talking about how they need to have privilege in society. Their version of masculinity is men who take care of us, men who protect us, men who do all of this. Those are all duties that men have towards women. Great. What are the duties that women have towards men?
Well, that became a breakout moment from our adolescence debate, and Andrew Wilson's
chilling
warning
program,
about the dangers of covert feminism. Well, we have a panel of feminists, covert and otherwise, to debate. The co-founder of Justice for Women and author of Lesbian Where Are We Now, Julie Bindel, the trans rights advocate, Stacia Underwood, the sports journalist and political commentator, Emily Austin, and the host of The Crucible, Andrew Wilson. Well, welcome to all of you.
I love Andrew Wilson.
Julie Bindel, let me start with you with this whole issue of trans athletes in women's sport. I've been talking about this, as you have, for many years, and we've reached a point where the current president of the United States has basically announced a total ban on any trans athletes competing in women's sport,
so they should,
including at the upcoming global events happening in the United States, which is great. But it seems to me utterly astonishing that we have John Oliver, who's a fellow Brit, who is on American television and for 45 minutes seriously trying to argue that people who are born biological males have no advantage over biological females when it comes to sport. How can this still be happening?
It's utterly ludicrous. Either we have women's sports or we don't. Either we recognise that...
Have women's sports. Women, stay in your sports. Men, stay in your sports. Because if trans men, want to come into women's sports, they are going to take every trophy. They're going to score every... They're going to be the top goal scorers in all sport. It's ridiculous. They're going to win swimming, the weightlifting. You got no chance. As soon as the trans come in to women's sports, you girls have got no chance, and I really feel sorry for you.
Sports are segregated for good reason. Or we don't, and we put everybody in together and then see what happens, which is like the bad old days when girls and women wouldn't come forward to compete or they wouldn't join tournaments. Even if you look at something like poker, which Oliver was joking about. How can this be an issue? How can poker even be discriminatory? There's no strength involved. But the sexist environment
That's a shit
of
example.
poker tournaments and what men would call joking and teasing and the like put many women off competing. And so let's just see what happens
I see.
if we then decide that there should be no single-sex sports and that women's sports were ridiculous to start with, because that's what he's arguing.
No, women's sport is not ridiculous. To me, I like women's sport. I like women's football. Okay, I mean, like you saw on the real time, yeah, I showed you a clip of women's. It can be quite humorous. Now look, I'm going to just break it down. I like women's football. I'm going to a match at the end of the month. I'm watching England against Portugal with Hannah and the kids. And but it is funny. Like sometimes it can be very funny. However, I will give the women this in football. You girls can take a tackle and you can take a hit better than the fucking men who cry on the floor, taking millions a month just to bitch and moan just to get a fucking free kick or even get a throw in. All right, rant over.
Yeah, Stasia, look, as I've repeatedly made clear about my own position, which often gets completely misconstrued, as I think does Julie's, as I think does J.K. Rowling and everybody else. You know, my position is that I absolutely respect people who are trans. I respect people who are trans' rights to fairness and equality. And
yeah, so do I. Look, if you're trans, it's cool. But if I see you and I accidentally call you a sir or a he or him or whatever, a boy, then don't get bent out of shape about it, yeah? Okay? You are who you are, but if you want to be something else within your mind, then fine. I can play along with it unless, you know, if I remember to. Yeah, so if I accidentally call you what you are, forgive me, right? Don't get all shitty about it. Just, we are who we are. And, you know, if you're gay, trans, whatever, I'm all good for that. If you're gay, don't touch me. If you're trans, don't get emotional.
Safety. I want trans people to have the same fairness, equality and safety that I enjoy, or that my daughter enjoys, for example. So let's be clear about that. Nothing that I'm about to say is what some people try and frame it as transphobic, right? I'm not remotely transphobic. I am fully supportive of trans people's rights.
A lot of people
to
say
lead the same life
that
as
he
the
is
rest
transphobic.
Of us.
He's not.
However, and it's a big however, when it erodes, when the battle for trans rights to fairness, equality in particular, but also safety, when that erodes clearly women's rights to fairness and equality and safety, I have a big problem with that. And no place is this more glaring than in the sporting arena, where you see time and again now biological men who identify as trans, who were pretty unsuccessful competing against other biological men, and suddenly they're winning against women or taking Olympic places from women, etc., etc. And I think the UN came up with nearly 900. I mean, John Oliver tried to ridicule this, but nearly 900 medals around the world, I think, in the last year went to trans athletes in women's sport. This cannot be right. It's not fair. It's not equal. As we saw in the Paris Olympics, in the boxing ring, where you had boxers competing who were banned from the World Championships because they had reportedly male chromosomes, and you had women boxers quitting after 40 seconds because they'd never been hit so hard, genuinely fearing they might get killed in the ring. When it comes to this, we are now reaching, to me, not just an unfair and unequal place in this debate, but a dangerous place in this debate.
When it comes to physical sports, boxing, what's the other one? MMA or whatever it is. All the stuff that's physical, you're going to get beat. Women are going to get beat by biological men who are calling themselves women, who have transitioned maybe or not. Okay? It's the truth. This is how it is. But if you was to go into sports, if trans women were to go into women's sports like, I don't know, snooker, for example, I mean, that snooker's not hard, is it? Everyone can hit a cue and hit a ball in, but it's not the point. Okay, the fairness in sport, it needs to be addressed and it needs to be tackled, because all these trans people, and I say people, are going into these sports because they think that they got the upper hand and they think they deserve it because they're now a woman in their eyes, but biologically not. And they're just letting this happen. It's the women I feel sorry for. I'm going to keep mentioning it. It's the women I feel sorry for.
What do you say to that?
What do you say to that?
I think it's difficult. I think that there's a lot of emphasis being put on trans people in sports specifically. I made it very clear, like, I am not here to spit facts or spew anything in terms of like statistics or anything like that. I have my lived experience as a trans person.
She's trans? Oh, you could tell actually now. Yeah. Okay.
I feel that there's so much attention being put on to this specific subject because what you guys really want underlying is the eradication of trans people and them to not be involved in any system.
No, you see there, look, but Stassia.
That is the dumbest argument I've ever heard in my life.
Yeah, ridiculous.
Right. It's ludicrous. Where have you got that from? Where is anything I have ever said?
To speak out for others.
I'm more so referring to
honestly.
I have seen certain things that you said in other interviews, Piers, with like my friend Blossom and other trans individuals. Yeah. I just feel that the emphasis that is being put
on. And what was transphobic? What have I ever said that could be remotely construed as transphobic?
This is what I'm saying. He's getting
wanting to get rid.
This is it. Every time it's on this topic, these women are like, "Oh, you transphobic." He speaks his mind. We all know Piers Morgan. He speaks his mind. He feels like when he speaks his mind about transgenderism and feminism and everything, the opposite side of the argument always feel like they're attacking them. But what they can't fathom is the argument. They can't take on the argument or take on the debate. So they just want to Piers Morgan just to agree with them no matter what, without an argument. So they say some bullshit, and then they expect him, Piers Morgan, to go, "Oh, yeah, I agree with you. Yeah, fuck off."
Rid of trans people, ever. I challenge you right now. Tell me.
I haven't really directed that at you just from sitting here. I more so am just here to say that I feel that the issue that's being pressed is because it's a...
You just directed it at him. What are you talking? You directed it at him.
I think that the issue that is being put on trans athletes is a way to eradicate trans people.
But this is, with respect, this
Piers,
is
can
ridiculous.
I interject for a moment?
In the 1960s and 70s.
Yeah, you would know. You were born in the 1920s. Go on.
When feminists that came before me set up women's shelters, rape crisis centres, hospital wards, prison wings for women, recognising that some men, not all, but a sizable minority, are a threat to women because sexual violence and harassment is a threat. We weren't told by men, not all of them were pleased, but largely they understood. We weren't told by men, you're trying to erase and eradicate men. The vast majority of men understood why we needed to do this. All we're doing is saying men, and you can call them trans women if you like, but...
No. They're men.
Men have no place.
Yes, men.
Place in women's prisons, domestic violence shelters, and sports.
Yes.
Well, wait a second. Hang on.
Okay, Emily, you wanted to... yeah, Andrew, I'm going to come to you. Andrew, I'll come to you one moment. Just let Emily jump in on what you're about to say, I think, to Stassia. Making America healthy again is all the rage, and many people are inspired to put their fitness first.
Let's see how we're going to make America healthy.
To be working with Dawn and my team at Jacked Up Fitness, which is an amazing American company. Last week, they installed their flagship Jacked Up Power Rack Pro for none other than RFK Jr. and his team at the Department of Health HQ.
All my American friends, make sure you get
coming
this.
To my house set up my Power Rack Pro, and I can't wait.
Oh, he's selling it, isn't he? Oh, he's selling it.
It has everything you need for a full body workout at home. There's a cable crossover system integrated with 200-pound weight stacks, and the Smith machine is set up for hundreds.
Oh, fuck me, I'm getting this.
Basically, everything that you could do at the gym. If you're new to all this, the Get Jacked Up program offers full-body video workouts led by celebrity trainers like Tim Lyons and Clark Bartram. Just press play and follow along.
No,
Join
you're
me.
right.
Go to getjackedup.com and sign up for free.
Don't get it.
Order your Power Rack Pro and save 10% with promo code
price will kill you.
Piers. No more excuses.
All right, calm down. Right, let's get back to it.
I just think it's so infuriating because ultimately, I know many trans people, and I've spoken to them about, playing in women's sports, etc. And the biggest issue they face is that they just want to be accepted. Now, if I was a trans woman and I just wanted to be accepted,
look at her
I'm
in the
going to
middle.
do the exact opposite of what you're doing. You want to paint all of these labels on you. You want to play identity politics. You want to play the victim, but you want it to be treated as if you're any superior. That's not equality. You receiving special treatment that does not make you equal but makes you superior to others is not looking to be included. It's actually making people detest your cause. It's making people think that you are a moron. And the way that you're trying to represent the trans community as a whole by just denying that there's a threat and being delusional about it is not helping the trans people. You're making people look at you from the outside and say, wow, they are out of touch with reality.
I think that the verbiage that you use in this statement is very clear on where you stand on trans issues. I'm going to go back to my original point. You guys trying to take out trans people from sports is a way to eradicate trans people from public.
No.
But we're not.
No.
We're
Nobody has said anything. Nobody's here.
Why would we want to do that?
Nobody has said that.
What's the point? It just means that we're going to get more involved in it. And then people like Andrew Wilson, Piers Morgan, and maybe others will just get cancelled. So this is what I'm saying. These two guys here, they're very smart on the way they debate and the way they word things. Because you get comments like that and the trans people feel like they are being attacked. No. Well, they probably are getting attacked, but some people will happily just be like, yeah, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. But some people will go, fuck you, blah, 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 but they'll do it in a way where it comes across not as brutal, you know?
And this is what happens, if you don't mind me saying, what happens, the way that trans activists let themselves down, in my opinion, and you can respond to this, is that you try and shut down perfectly legitimate, in fact, urgently important debate by saying that anyone who dares to question this is transphobic and wants to get rid of trans people.
Exactly.
I don't think anyone so far on this panel has said they want to get rid of trans people or anything like it. And yet you keep saying you people all want to get rid of trans people. Why do you believe that?
Do you know what I think's happened? The he-she dress wearing thing in the middle, I think she's dropped the fucking trans card and she's trying to play it, but she's too fucking lazy and fucking bone idle and fat to fucking pick the thing up. That's what I reckon. Look, I don't care. She's pissing me off. Oh, because I'm trans. Everything you say, even if it's a positive thing, you're still throwing digs at me and now I'm getting upset. Fuck off.
Where have you got that from? You cite my interviews with some of your friends, but where have I said anything remotely that could be construed as transphobic? I don't get it.
I think the verbiage that was being used, it's very clear you guys stand on all trans issues.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
So what is the solution for the trans people that are playing sports? What's the solution for them? We're just supposed to kick them out all entirely?
Let me give you the solution. Let me give you the solution. The solution's very straightforward.
Go on.
Almost all of them competed against biological men like themselves before, but they did it far less successfully. So you either go back, trans women athletes either compete against their biological sex, or you create an entirely new category for trans athletes.
Yeah, absolutely. So basically what he's trying to say is that they were men before and they were competing in such sports in the Olympics or any sport around the world, football, soccer, baseball, basketball, whatever, and they're not good enough They're not good enough to compete the ones who are better than them. Okay? But it doesn't mean that they turn trans just to get into women's sports to be better than them. So they, they're shit at one thing when they're in their original sex, and they thought, oh, I'm going to change my sex now, go over to the girls and then dominate. I don't think that's the case, but it is, if for someone who's transitioning and everything, then they have that upper hand either way, even if they didn't plan to go into women's sports to identify as a woman just to be the best. It's crazy, and they should have their own fucking category. If it's such a big fucking thing and it's very upsetting to the fucking trans world, then have a trans fucking football league and rugby league and baseball league. Just fuck off. No one will watch it. I'm telling you now, no one will watch it. It's like women's sports. No one watches it. Now, in women's sports, they bring the pay gap shit up and everything, but the only reason why the women in sport get paid less than the men in sports, in all sports, is because men make more revenue. They make more money. So it's just the way it is. And if they made more money and got more people involved in their sports and prices went up and the money went up, they would get more.
What you don't do...
Have a trans fucking thing. No one will watch it. You'll be making £100 a fucking month.
Is allow them to destroy the integrity of women's sport, which is what is happening. So it's very straightforward how you solve this. I don't want trans people to be banned from playing sport. I just want them to be banned like I did with the dopers when they were cheating in sport. I want them to be banned from utilising an unfair advantage. It's simple as that.
Yeah.
I think.
Can I ask her a question? Would you think it's fair if Novak Djokovic identified as a woman and then played Serena Williams in a tennis set? Do you think that would be fair to Serena Williams, who worked her whole life to become a star tennis player, just to get swept by Novak, who's the #1 men's tennis player? I just want to know if you think that that's fair.
No.
Yeah, I just think that the question is ridiculous because
Why is it ridiculous?
Just answer it. I'll tell you why you don't want to answer it. It's because it goes against your fucking argument.
I see how it's trying to be framed. I'm gonna keep going back to my original point. Your guys' excessive attention on wanting to remove trans people from sports and have them play in their biological sex, which makes no sense because even in John Oliver's interview,
or in their own category.
Yeah, exactly. Have your own transgender category, or you play in your fucking biological sex. You can't just jump into the opposite sex to what you are, even though you identify as the opposite sex. Why is this happening? How is this happening? Who the fuck started this shit? I'm gonna cut it off. I want to be a woman now. What the fuck, man?
The category that would make sense.
Or in their own category.
There's not enough of them to create a category. Like the percentile is so small.
Actually,
so
there actually are an increasingly large number of trans athletes around the world. Actually, that's not true. Andrew, you've been waiting very patiently. Thank you.
Do you know what? I feel like this is more of a rant than it is a react. I'm gonna calm down a bit. All right, okay. Let's get back to it.
This seems to me this whole debate so far highlights the way this debate has been framed now for years, which is that any attempt to question what is obviously grotesquely unfair and unequal and indeed unsafe is branded transphobic, even when there's no evidence to suggest that the people saying it are transphobic.
Exactly.
Well, it's not just that. I mean, basically everybody in this panel is wrong. So to start with, this person says,
he's a savage,
this person says, well, the thing is you just want to erase transgender people altogether, Piers, and then says, I wasn't saying that, Piers. I wasn't saying that you want to erase trans people, not you specifically, when clearly that's what you were saying. At least get behind the statements that you're making. The TERF starts out by saying, well, I've been here reinforcing women's rights this entire time, right? And then the TERF says, right on top of that, well, but, poker's very misogynistic. She can't wait to dunk on men. Very first thing she does is dunk on men in order to somehow elevate women, right? You're all insane. The truth is that the only reason that this happens to begin with is because women vote for it. They vote for it. They vote blue. They vote left. They vote in the same politicians who get behind all of this stuff. You're the deciding vote, right? And you have empowered women to do that as much as possible for the political process to do that. All of you are responsible for this. Every last one of you.
Really glad that you're so perfect.
Emily as well?
Trump.
Yeah.
What?
Leave me out of this one. I'm good.
What's good?
Well, we'll see.
Well, not just what Andrew kept saying. All of you. Do you include Emily, Andrew, or not?
Well, I just assumed it. I just assumed it. But this is the truth. The truth is, we begin with these crazy ideas, right? Under patriarchal rule, under men, this would never have happened, right? If you look at how men vote, they vote against this nonsense. And it's fathers who are on the front lines against it. It's women who are trying to transition the children, not men. Give me a case example of where male fathers are trying to transition their kids. It doesn't exist. It's a female-only phenomenon. Literally a female-only phenomenon.
That is insane.
Yeah, show me one. Show me one male father who's fighting in the courts to transition their son to a girl.
Actually,
Nowhere.
So true.
Nowhere.
Do you know what? I can agree. Do you know what, right? If my daughters wanted to transition, or my son, or even my baby that's going to be here in 10 weeks when he grows up, or she grows up, wants to transition, I'd stop it. Yeah, I would be the one to stop it, right? But it's the mums. I believe it's the mums who are pushing their kids more for their, what's the word? I mean, they want to transition. So the mothers are like, oh, okay, I'm going to be behind you on this one and I'll help you through it and blah, blah, blah. And, you know, where the dads don't get involved, well, I would. I know for a fact I fucking would. But it is true. I believe as well, as much, you know, as Andrew does, it's more the women. It's more the women who are pushing their children towards being something they are not.
Podcast
I see
series
men on
about this.
TikTok that are diseased.
I interviewed quite a few fathers that are pushing for this. But the point is that this is something that benefits men, and it's men that are the ones that are saying they're women. They are all of a sudden the oppressed, and feminists like me are the oppressor, and that they they're too weak and pathetic to fight and play against other men. And what do? They come and beat up on women.
Do you vote left, ma'am?
I don't know what vote left means.
Do you vote for the left-wing party of your nation?
Do you vote for Democrats?
Do you vote for
okay. Do you know what? Right, I could vouch for her here, the wildebeest, right? Oh, fucking! I was so mean, and so I can vouch for her here. He's asked a question: do you vote for the left? Now here, it's not really a term we use in the UK. It's more like, oh, do you vote for Reform or do you vote for the UKIP? So we count them as sort of the left, if you want to put it that way, even though, you know, some people think they're not, regardless. But that's not a term we use. So if we were to ask a question like this, it would be a straight out question like, would you vote for UKIP? Would you vote for Reform? Yeah, would you vote for the Green Party? But in America and maybe other places around the world, they shorten it and go, oh, would you vote left? Do you vote left? And yeah, it's the way the Americans and the British interact with questions and everything. Sorry, and everything.
I'm
considered the Democrats of your nation.
No, I wouldn't have voted for the Democrats. I would not have voted for the disgrace of that party. And I also wouldn't have voted for Trump. But the point is,
if we look, let me finish. We'll follow up very quickly.
We live in a different context.
What I'm saying to you is this: it's very.
See, exactly what I said. Exactly what we live in a different context here. That's what I was trying to explain. I just explained it wrong. Well, not wrong, but weirdly
simple. If you look at the voting patterns of women in both the UK and the United States, they're usually the deciding vote when it comes to degeneration. That includes
anything.
it includes on the trans issue. So here you are. It's the very thing that you push for empowerment of women that is now causing your very problem. You have to now convince women. Men are already there. Men have already said, nope, we don't want this. We never wanted it.
That are claiming
it's garbage.
to be women.
Yeah. I was like, we either don't care, right? Or we don't care. Or we don't give a shit. Or we couldn't give a fuck what you do with your life. Where women, they're always the ones that are fighting for it. Oh yeah, we must fight for transgenderism and feminism and blah, blah, blah. And this is it. So the women may get more of the votes because the men don't care. So we wouldn't vote on such thing like this, but the women will.
Yeah, apart from the women who are claiming to be men, which now it's almost equalized. Remember that part? Right? This phenomenon, though, is categorically rejected by men and reinforced by women. And TERFs like you did everything that you could possibly do in order to push that. Yeah. You did everything you could do to push that. And now you get to reap the whirlwind. So I don't care if women in their sports teams are getting their teeth kicked in. I don't care. Reap what you sow. As you sow, so shall you reap. And you get exactly what you deserve.
You seem like a lovely person.
I'm sorry that you have to deal with the consequences of your own actions.
Oh.
Piers Morgan Uncensored is now proudly independent. If you like the show, we ask for only one thing. Subscribe on YouTube and follow Piers Morgan Uncensored on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Now let's get straight to the point. Support for today's show comes from a business focused on a critical issue, prosperity. US national debt is at crisis levels. Inflation has made life more expensive for everybody. And the stock market is precarious. It's enough to make anyone's financial future feel grim. So what is the solution? Well, a simple one is to opt out of the chaos and invest in something solid and reliable. Physical, gold and silver. And there's only one name you need to remember, American Hartford Gold. This company has earned the trust of thousands of customers with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau and glowing reviews you can see for yourself. They offer an incredible range of gold and silver bars and coins. They can be delivered directly to your door, or they'll help you set them up in a tax-advantaged gold IRA.
It says
first-class customer service makes the whole process simple, secure, and straightforward. American Hartford Gold is committed to getting the truth out there and giving you peace of mind in uncertain times.
How much?
And if that wasn't enough, you'll get up to $15,000 worth of free silver when you make your first purchase and mention my name, Piers. So, make the smart move. Call 866
call them up and you mention my name and tell them to fucking do that.
That's Piers to 65532.
Don't do it.
That's 866
it's not worth it.
692
the price
2474 or text Piers to 65532. All the details are in the description.
Text Danny.
Now on with the show.
To 65569.
On the subject of it, because Andrew made a lot of news on social media with his debate with Tommy Lahren last week after accusing her of being a covert feminist. Let's remind people of that clip which went viral.
Most men are born to be protectors and providers. I can't imagine my dad saying, you know what, to my mom, you know what, I'm not going to be a protector and a provider unless you do this. That's not how real men operate. Real men are protectors and providers, and they marry women who hopefully have some virtue, but also bring a lot to the table as well, that are great mothers, great wives, caretakers of the home.
And I bet you Andrew will ask her, what do women bring to the table? Now, I agree. So she's there spouting around saying, oh yeah, men are born to be providers and work harder, blah, blah, blah. So we got to go out and kill ourselves, right? And have the mood swings because we're fucking tired and we work too much and we don't have time to fit even a game of golf in, right? So what are you going to do? Well, I mean, what do you bring to the table after me going out there killing myself, working, making money for you to go and fucking spend? Tell me.
There's nothing wrong with being a traditional wife and mother.
So, Emily, what do you say?
No, there isn't anything wrong with being a traditional wife, but just, appreciate that your husband or boyfriend is going out there to work. Something that no one wants to fucking do. So just keep the house tidy, okay? Suck his dick, give him some punani, right? And just make him feel happy and make him feel good. There's nothing worse than having a bad week and you've had nothing. and then you still continue to get nothing. Right? Literally, when men are in the mind state of being overwhelmed, overworked, overtired, and they're not getting any affection, love, or attention at home, believe me, men will look elsewhere. Believe me, men will look elsewhere. Just be there for your other half. That's it. It's not rocket science. Stop giving him shit. Stop nagging. Stop giving him a hard time. Appreciate what he does for you and the family. And just fucking hell, just give him some affection.
Are you a covert feminist like Tommy?
Because he will look elsewhere.
Agree with Andrew's assessment?
I'm not a covert feminist. I am very outwardly... You know, the word feminism has been hijacked by, like, the woke left, who uses it as an excuse for psychotic women and liberals to scream on the streets, we want equal rights when we have equal rights. I'm more so an empowered woman who encourages other women to, you know, be independent, work hard, chase your dreams. And that doesn't come at the expense of being feminine. It doesn't come at the expense of, now as a feminist, you need to eradicate all men. I don't think everything is so black or white. Listening to that debate, they spoke a bit about gender roles, and here's my take on that.
Go on.
If you're going to have gender role expectations for your man, that's a personal choice. Emily Austin has high expectations.
That's your choice. Okay, so you're telling us to go work and provide for you and make the money, make the bread, bring the shopping back, blah, 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 and fucking work ourselves to the bones. But you have a choice? You have a choice on what you want to do and want to be whilst we're out there fucking shoveling shit? Feminism.
Of her man. He has to be working hard. He should be successful. He should, you know, pay attention to how I feel. Like, there should be certain gender roles. He has to provide for the family, not solely, but he should be providing for his family. These are gender roles. As a woman, I learned how to cook. I know how to clean. My grandmother always tells me, my mother tells me, Emily, you're going to be a good wife. You're going to be loyal. You're going to be supportive. You're going to act like a lady. Now, there's many women who don't want to play into the gender roles, which is fine. But then don't expect your man to go out and become masculine. I think it's equal. Like, set the expectation and then date people who meet your expectation. But in terms of covert feminism, first of all, it's such a silly term. Either you support women or you don't. And I'm not talking about the trans argument right now.
Not only is it not a silly term, it is true that most of the political pundit women on the right are covert feminists. And I'll just ask you the same exact question I asked Tommy.
Because the word feminism
Hang on,
got
let me finish the question.
problem.
Let me finish the question. No.
Well, it's not really, because feminism is still going on. How can it get hijacked? Feminism has never been any stronger than it is right now. It never used to be such a big movement. And now everyone's a fucking feminist. And it's all over the pay gap, or whatever it is, like gender roles as well. It's ridiculous. And rights. Don't get me started with fucking rights.
Oh, I'm talking about all the way back to first wave feminism, okay? You are feminist, and I'll explain by asking you the same question. If it is men's duty in society to procure, refine, protect resources, which then women and children are the primary beneficiaries of, which they are, what societal duty which is equal to that do women have? What is it?
Yeah. What is it?
Women, we're going to have children. Men will never understand the burden of carrying a child.
So you have a duty to reproduce?
See, it didn't even answer the question. Did not even answer the question. He's basically saying, we do all this. So what are you going to do that will match? And then she's going on about, oh yeah, we have duty to get pregnant and give birth. You don't know what the pain is like giving birth. Of course we don't. We can't give fucking birth. But you still throw that in our face. You can't throw something in our faces when it's out of our control. You can't say you've never given birth, so you're this and you're that, and you don't know the pain. Of course I don't. So you're just bringing up an argument. You know you will win, because I don't know. I won't ever experience it. This is what's wrong. This is what's wrong with feminism and just crazy women.
Women to be able to cook and clean.
Wait, so you have women have a duty to reproduce?
Absolutely.
Okay, great. So that's
Absolutely,
the one duty that's on par. Great. So that's one duty that's on par with that. I totally agree. Are they? Or is it the case that in every single nation in the West, we are under reproductive rates in every single one of them? In every single nation in the West, we are lower than where we need to be for reproduction. So it seems that men are fulfilling their social duty and women are not. And the problem with the right is that the right doesn't ever address this, and right-wing females never address this. Instead, they say it's equal. Work and motherhood are equal. They're not equal. Not only are they not equal, but let me give you another example here. As you dive into this, try to understand that what you do is you actually hamstring women by telling women they should go and be girl boss babes and go to college starting in their 20s. They actually destroy their prime reproductive years. They destroy them by having families later. It's the primary cause.
Okay, that's silly. I'm 23.
Hang on, listen.
I believe women are having children later on in life because they're choosing careers over children. It's like in South Korea. South Korea got the lowest birth rates, the lowest, because the South Korean women are choosing careers and choosing life before marriage and building lives with other men, or with marriage and everything.
Primary cause for the reproduction crisis. It's the primary cause of the reproduction crisis in the West is that with women defer families till they're in their 30s. Why do you think the average age of marriage is 32 in the United States? I think it just got raised to 33. Yes, you're going to have way less kids. Okay, part of girl bossing is when you say career women are right on par with mothers. They're not, and society should be glorifying one, not socially shaming the other, but you shouldn't give them the same elevation you give to mothers and matrons of families. That is pure covert feminism.
Okay. I'm going to answer you with the following. I don't believe in the glorification, and especially I see it amongst Gen Zers, of not having children. I actually think it's disgraceful, and I don't think it's a flex at all to brag about not wanting to repopulate. It just shows me that you're so insecure that you're going to be a bad parent that you're not doing it. On the other hand, I'll ask you a question in return. Would you prefer a child growing up in a damaged family with a mother who clearly wasn't ready to raise a child and raise potentially what could be, a deranged child who grows up to be a serial killer or a murderer, or how about this, just a really bad person, rather than wait a few more years until she's ready to have her kid and then raise a mensch? What do you prefer?
Well, so here's what we can see when we break this down. What we see when we break this down is the abuse happens in the public school, where you're 100 times more likely to be essayed than you are if you're in a Catholic church. We see that if it is the case that you're a single mother, you are a single mother, especially by choice, that is usually the selection of stepfather that leads to the abuse of the children. We also can see via the stats that you're completely...
That's very true. I grew up when I was very young. I grew up and I knew a family whose the stepfather to the children was exactly that. I'm not going to name any names or any locations or anything else, but I have witnessed it.
Just insane here. You are actually, if you stay inside of a family where mom and dad don't even like each other, your outcomes are still better than if you, the girl boss, goes, well, I just don't feel fulfilled. I don't feel fulfilled, and so I need to go and date the neighbor down the road or whatever, right? The truth is that regardless of your fulfillment, children are the duty. The next generation is the duty, and women have a duty to keep the family intact as well. They're responsible for most of the divorces. They file for the most amount of divorces, not because of abuse, but because of irreconcilable differences. And when asked, I don't feel fulfilled. And it's like, that's not how we run a society. It's literally a death sentence for our whole society. Look at what's going on in the UK. It's a death sentence for them.
Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, let me bring in Stasia, who's been grimacing throughout that. Stasia, why are you so outraged by what he's saying?
I'm not outraged. I just think that you all are fairly stupid. And everything that's being said is ridiculous.
Oh, well, because it doesn't mount up to your beliefs and your truths and the way that you see life and the way that you feel as a man dressed as a woman.
It's just like
she's
comedy
pissing
show.
You think you can change your sex? How can you ever call anybody stupid?
Exactly.
You never call anybody stupid.
Yeah,
you
she
think
should
you
sit
can
that
change
one
your
out.
sex?
Hey, I'm not.
He's got he's got a point. She's got the nerve to call Andrew stupid for everything that he has just spoken about, okay, which is reality in some cases. And then she's like, oh, that was stupid. And then he comes back with a knife to the heart for her or him or it and says, you think you can change your sex. It's so true.
I'm not. I'm just sitting back watching the shit show happen. I'm here for it.
You're a shit show. Fucking look at it.
Julie,
you started the shit show, honey.
Well, hang on. I want to get Julie to respond to Andrew.
Oh, I zoned out and I thought I'd woken up in the 1950s in some TARDIS. You can't take him seriously. It's ridiculous.
Oh, you mean in the 1950s? You mean in the 1950s when we had intact families where 95% of women were getting married as virgins, where families weren't being broken up, where crime was extremely low, where you only needed one income to support an entire household, where mental illness was at an all-time low? Like that 1950s? I'm sorry that I make a reference to a time.
Are you married? Are you married?
Yeah, I'm married. How do you make married with many children?
Is your
How
wife
about
happy?
You married with children? Oh, she's ecstatic.
No, I'm 23. I'm a boss lady girl, which seems to be driving you crazy.
Of course you are. Of course you're a boss lady girl, whatever the fuck you said. You look like a boss babe. Just looking at you. Like, oh, I'm all about my career. I bet she's got a boyfriend who she never fucking sees and she does OnlyFans on the fucking side. Andrew Wilson is married. He's married to Rachel Wilson, and she's actually a really nice girl, and she's good at debating as well. You might want to check her out on YouTube. She's really good. And do you know what? She tears down feminists in ways that you could never imagine. Like, Andrew has to go soft on these feminists when he debates them. This is soft for him because he doesn't want to hurt anyone's feelings or get cancelled because, whatever. But when Rachel, his wife, is debating against feminism, that is when the fucking knives, the swords, the fucking chainsaws, everything comes out. Believe me. Just search on YouTube, Rachel Wilson debate. You'll love it.
Yeah.
Working, making money,
I'm just pointing
waiting
out
for the right guy to
the
come
only
along.
thing you have no arguments. You just try to assault me personally. You can try, but the truth is that I've reproduced. I am married.
How did I assault you? I asked
the life.
you if you're married.
No, you didn't. You were making a passive-aggressive feminist.
To be fair,
about how my wife must be miserable.
Andrew,
your wife must be miserable.
To be fair, Andrew is practicing what he preaches. I want to bring in another clip from a debate between Megyn Kelly and Matt Walsh on the similar theme. Let's watch a little clip from this.
Again, having said that, I like the guy. I'm getting a little tired of his nonstop judgment of women who make different choices than the ones he wants us to make. Sorry, Matt, you're not our Jesus. We don't answer to you. Like, live your life the way you want to live it and stop judging everybody who makes a different choice. I'm sick of it.
I don't mind Matt Walsh. He's very controversial. So a lot of people hate him. He has a big following, but he has more people that hate him more than like him. And the people who are neutral is even less than the people that like him. Can that make sense? Yeah, I think that can make sense. So, he's not really a liked person. It's like Charlie Kirk. Thing is, I like people like Charlie Kirk, Andrew Wilson, Matt Walsh. I like men in particular who speak their mind against feminists and transgenderism. I don't. It's just me. It's just I like it. I watch all the debates and everything. I watch them all.
Covert feminist.
And she went on to say this about young men not wanting to marry career women. Let's take a listen to this.
We're now telling young, conservative, amazing women that they're not attractive if they also work. If they choose to, let's say, do what I'm doing and what you're doing and like get their voice out there. But I'll stick with me just because I think conservatives listening to this will like the thought of another Megyn Kelly voice up and coming.
Now, Matt Walsh responded by saying men are generally not attracted to ambitious career.
What the fuck did
Well, hang on a minute. I want to read a clip from Matt Walsh, or a quote. He said, men are generally not attracted to ambitious, career-driven women. and women's first priority should be children and looking after the home. So, Emily, what do you think of that?
Yes and no. I mean, men can be attracted and want to be with career women in careers, but also take into consideration, actually, that more men than less actually want to start families and get married. I don't know. Yeah. I would love to get married. Like, there's only one person I'd marry, and you know who that is. I couldn't think about marrying anyone else because I just couldn't trust them. I really couldn't. If there was anyone else, they'll take half of what I got. I might as well just give them everything, because I know that the women out there who I'm attracted to or have been attracted to have been fucking nuts. Now, men can be attracted to career-driven women, but you have to take into account that men at some point would want children and to be married. Now, for career-driven women and men who don't want marriage and kids, fine, that's cool. But more men want to get married and have children with women who also want the same. But there seems to be a lot more boss babes and career-driven women, which is why marriage has gone down, divorces have gone up, and the birth rates have gone down, and they're going down.
If you've ever felt like you're being watched online, it's unfortunate because you are. Hundreds of companies, so-called data brokers, watch and record everything you do on the internet.
Oh, shit.
Even if you're using incognito mode or private tabs,
Watch
they
out,
can still
everyone.
access every purchase you make, every search you type, and much more. Your data can be sold to advertisers, government agencies, or insurance companies who could use it to charge you more.
Listen up, everyone. Listen up.
All of this, or you could reclaim your privacy, as I have done for many years with ExpressVPN. The app redirects 100% of your online traffic through secure servers.
Ooh,
no data brokers,
I might get it.
third parties can see what you do. ExpressVPN also hides your IP address, without which there is no way of tracking you.
Come on.
No point invading your privacy in the
first place.
Take the
number down, give them a call.
A new feature called ID Defender is free to all US customers. ID Defender scours the internet to remove your information from the files of data brokers. This is the #1 rated VPN by experts at CNET, PC World, and The Verge. And right now, you can get an extra 4 months of ExpressVPN for free. To scan the QR code
that's a
on the screen, or go to expressvpn.com/peers to get 4 extra months
Have your
for free.
VPN, please.
That's
You said you got 4 months for free. Is that right?
Peers. Now,
okay. How much is it after? Fucking how much? No, you're right.
I think the beauty about free will is you make a choice who you want to spend your life with. Like, I know many men are okay with, a woman who works, and I know many men are not. And that's the great part, is you choose who you want to partner with. So if you want a woman to be home and have 5, 6, 7, 8 children, which is a beautiful choice to make in life, then go for it. If you want a woman who can do both, work and have children when she's ready, 2 or 3 children, then go for that type of woman. If you want a woman who's never home and going to be on the road all the time, and trust me, there are many beta men who would love that, then go for that. Like, nobody is forcing you to be with a woman that doesn't cater to your needs. The same way no one's forcing any women to be with a guy like Andrew Tate that's going to beat you and make you miserable. We have choices, and we need to make calculated, wise choices.
That's a wild claim. She just said that you want to be with someone like Andrew Tate who beats women and makes you feel miserable. I hope someone pins her up on that.
As to what personally is best for you.
The Andrew Tate fallacy, instantly moving over to Andrew Tate is evil and a representation of men who believe in a patriarchal system. Here's the truth. The truth of the matter is that we should be doing for society what is socially good for society. If we can't reproduce our society, that's a really bad social ill for society. When you have propaganda that is telling women to go get useless degrees in psychology and sociology. Yeah, that's great. Let me finish.
It's actually...
But your children will, when your child comes out of your uterus, it grows up in society. So it's for you and your husband. Or you're homeschooling now, are you? It's not going to have friends. It's not allowed to ever see another human being. Of course. What the fuck are you going on about? Fucking someone tie her fucking uterus up and put a padlock on it.
So Andrew, hang on. Just Andrew, quickly. Is Megyn Kelly a covert feminist then?
Not covert, overt. She's an overt feminist. Covert's out for Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly came out and said women should be prioritizing career over family. That's what Matt Walsh's issue was with her, and he's absolutely right. The guy struck it out of the ballpark.
Yeah.
Socially, in society, we should be moving women into a familial role. It's not to say that women can't work. Nobody's saying women can't work. We're just saying that if you're going to glorify things in society, it should be the mother in the intact home and the wife and the caretaker at home, not the girl boss. That's insane, and it's a societal death sentence. Walsh knows it. Everybody knows this at this point. If you can't reproduce your own nation, you don't have a nation.
Okay, so I guess what he's trying to say is, well, what I believe he's trying to say is men don't want to marry boss babes. They want to marry someone who's more traditional and would do things around the house and make the marriage work and have children and, you know, have a happy life. Because you can't have marriage and a happy life with a boss babe or someone who's too much, or a woman who's too much into her career. That's the point he's making, I believe.
Do you know how...
Okay, Julie, you wanted to jump in there.
I mean, do you know how insecure and pathetic you sound? You can't take you seriously.
Eat another donut, lady.
I'll just finish. I get that you reckon that you're some big shock jock.
Oh, look, even Chinny in the middle. Fucking hell, more chins than the Chinese phone book. Even she was like, did someone say donuts?
And I know that you're desperately trying to be relevant, but you sound so insecure and so pathetic. You are
Do you
irrelevant.
have an argument?
Exactly.
Can you put the Duncan down for a second and give me an argument?
You're
Do you
just
have an
saying
argument?
things.
Or is it just
Sorry, I
Andrew
haven't heard
bad?
one from you.
Yes, I've given you multiple arguments for the social fabric of all of society and how we can improve it, what we need to be doing.
All he's been doing is arguing. He's been arguing against all of you.
We need to be moving towards. I gave you all the stats. I gave you argument after argument. Can you give me a single argument?
All the stats. You are the oracle. You know all about the universe and what's going to progress humankind. You're just a shock jock, mate.
It's not psychic ability.
You're just pathetic. Nobody's going to listen to you. You're an aggressive, insecure man.
I'm going to tell you what's going to...
He's not an aggressive, insecure man. He is an aggressive debater who likes to put his points forward and can't be dealing with bullshit arguments from these motherfuckers who don't even think about what they're even saying and just spout nonsense, have no arguments, have no evidence, don't have this, don't have that. They just appear on TV just for the 50 minutes of fame and have fucking nothing to do with the debate and just sit there in the background while he screaming shouts, and then they put their last word in and say, "You were aggressive." Fuck off.
We're not taking you seriously.
Well, this is going to go viral, and a lot of people are going to take me seriously, and all they're going to remember is that I told you that you couldn't put down the Dunkin' Donuts long enough to make an argument. Now, can you make one or not?
Oh, you know, this is schoolboy.
By the way,
tactic.
A real man doesn't speak down to a woman the way you do.
I don't care what you think.
You're not a real man. You're actually very feminine if you ask me. You're a very feminine man.
Yeah, nobody cares what you think real men are.
You're pathetic.
No, he's not. You're just trying to bring him down.
Nobody cares what you think a real man is.
You won't be able to bring him down. Don't try and bring him down. Don't say that he's a feminist just to try and kill his spirit, trying to kill his spirit or anything. It ain't gonna fucking work, lady. All right? Bossy fucking boots. Fuck off.
That you're such a big boy
Men, stay away from that blonde.
Slating, bringing in
Stay away from
personal insults about women's appearance.
I'm sorry.
Wow,
I'm sorry. You guys think that you're going to
feel
show
for you
people.
when you
We
go
can't say
out
anything bad.
into the big wide world from behind your macho
Well, one day when I go out in the big wide
there.
world, I hope people will take me as seriously as they do women who make zero arguments.
Wait, why are you
on
on
a show
Piers
like
Morgan?
This?
Shouldn't you go be working right
Why
now
are
and
you?
making money for your family to support?
I am
How do you have
working.
time to
I'm
working? I don't have
What are you
kids.
talking about?
I don't have a husband.
You're
I'm
saying
23
that you
years
can't
old.
make
I'm not
money?
married with kids yet, but
you
it seems
can't
like
make
you should go
money
be working
podcasting?
right now to fulfill your gender role as a big, strong man.
I am working right now.
Oh, well, get to work.
Let me ask.
You're not being paid to be here.
Yes, lady. I'm going to get paid a lot of money ultimately to be here. You have no idea what you're talking about. If you saw my bank account, what I make doing stuff like this, it would make you weep.
Show us your bank account to make yourself feel more secure.
Don't worry. She's on OnlyFans. She's got money, but she doesn't want to admit on TV because, you know, it's fucking prostitution and it's disgusting.
Yeah, hey, the only thing you could think of was to try to assault my bank account, lady.
Assault?
That's it. It's the only thing you can think of. The only thing
you can think of. She has no argument.
You don't work enough.
She has no argument.
Let me play. I want to play Emily. I want to play Emily a clip. This has gone viral too. It's had 120 million views. There's a woman who suggests she's about to leave her husband because he doesn't do enough domestic chores. Let's take a look.
If you do not participate in an equitable way in your home.
Right, this is going to be good. I can feel a rant coming. And I don't want to rant. This is meant to be a reacts. But, yeah. Let's see what this... This is the example of women ending marriages. Because they end more marriages. I've actually gone through the stats myself.
And so what does that look like? What does it look like to change these dynamics? Well, we need to really assess in our homes what the work looks like. Because in most homes, the data supports this, women do a disproportionate amount of the work. They just do. They do more of the cooking and the cleaning and the laundry and the childcare while also working full time. And men have more time for things like their hobbies, like golf, for example, or just working out, running a marathon, right? And so we need to have hard conversations about what our time looks like, what our labor in the home looks like, what is invisible labor. We have to talk about these things. And when we don't, the alternative is that you no longer have a marriage, or you don't have a happy one at least. And so I share this story because I don't think I'm alone in this experience, and I want people to know that there's hope, and that if you have a willing and able partner, you can change this. You can absolutely change
this. That was just her being, I don't know. She's obviously got problems at home, but instead of talking to her husband about it, she'll rather just talk to the world about it, about, you know, her marriage. Speak to your husband about your marriage. Stop going on fucking TikTok and speaking to the fucking world about your problems.
I mean, Emily, I would personally, I would travel continents to avoid a lady like that. But what's your view of what she's saying?
Avoid a lady like that. Avoid them.
To me, her rant, take away the gender for a moment. Because I actually believe women are a lot messier than men, just in terms of our makeup, our clothing, the abundance of clothing that we have.
Yeah,
I think we definitely purchase more accessories than men. And I think we also, like I said, there are gender roles I believe in should be responsible for most of the cleaning. Then on the other hand, if you're marrying a slob, A, you should know who you're getting into a household with. But B, if you're in a happy marriage and you have a sense of communication, why not just sit your partner down and be like, hey, I don't mind cleaning up after you, but when you throw your filthy socks on the bathroom sink or you leave your wet towel and we have mold, you know, I'd appreciate if you could not do this. But I don't think it gets to an extent where like divorce is justifiable.
Exactly.
Unless
Talk
your
to your
husband is
husband.
like a hoarding pig that's unbearable to live with. I think she's being a little bit dramatic here. And we all can acknowledge women are a bit messier than men. And
she is. She is being dramatic. She's absolutely been. Do you think men go to work and come back and just do nothing? Maybe some men do. They come back and they sit on their ass and do absolutely fucking nothing until they go to bed. They are lazy people, but you choose to be with them. Yeah, you want someone who will come home and come in and help with the children. You know, help clean around the house. Help just do a bit of spot cleaning. That's what I call them, spot cleaning. Just go around and just clean up the little bits. Help with the dinner. You know what I mean? Run a bar for your wife. Just do the little things, right? She's been at home all day, maintaining the house, maintaining everything, and the kids. We appreciate that. Men do appreciate that. And I know women out there do appreciate that men go out to work and slave and fucking make the bread and make the money. Yeah. But just, you know, there is men out there. There's good men out there who will come and put their fair share in when they come back. But if you've got a man who's going to come back and just sit on his ass until he goes to bed, then you chose the wrong fucking man to marry. And surely you should have known that before you put the fucking ring on your finger. So you put yourself in this fucking position. Why? You didn't need to put yourself in this fucking position. If you knew he was going to be a lazy cunt, don't fucking marry him. You know? Me, when I go to Hannah's, I clean up after myself. I do the washing up. I put the washing on. You know, I sweep the floor. I mop the floor and everything. I do it all. I don't do it because I feel like, you know, because I'm a guest and she's put me up, whatever. No. I do it because I want to do it. I want to make sure that our house is clean. You know? And the thing is, I'm moving in there. I'm moving in with Hannah on the 1st of June. So, you know, it won't be just the times that I go around there. It'll probably be every day. I'll come back from work and I'll do some spot cleaning. I might have a day where I'll chill out for a bit longer than usual. But stop choosing men who are going to make you fucking miserable. That's it. There's no argument about it.
It should be just like looking after one another. It's not a big deal to clean up after your partner, and that could go both ways. Not everything is so black or white.
Andrew?
Well, first of all, stay-at-home moms are mostly nowadays parking their kids in public school for most of the day.
Yeah.
Oftentimes, the kids are taking buses from the city to the school and buses home. They're not even driving them. Okay, not even driving them. And they have fully furnished lunch, even breakfast at most of these public schools, right? They don't even have to send them with a lunch anymore. They have all day to do household chores while men are working, right? No, women do not do a disproportionate amount of work in comparison to men. That's absurd. No labor statistic supports that. And even if we were to take household chores and put it on the table against a man's work, doesn't even come close, even with children, especially because you're parking them most of the time in a public school for most of the day. Yeah. This lady who's making this TikTok, totally insane, completely disconnected from reality, has no idea how this actually works.
I agree.
She's not totally
Julie,
insane.
your response to
You're
that.
going to make a choice to marry a girl who's going to cook and clean and do everything. And me as a woman, I'm going to make a choice to hire a housekeeper one day so that I don't have to cook and clean because that's my choice. The problem is you're too obsessed with other people's choices. Live and let live. Like, take a step back and recognize not everyone has to be as extreme as you are. Like, yes, women
live
should
and
cook
let
and
live
clean,
until
but
it
if they're
comes
not
to the
perfect,
transgenders.
if they're not perfect,
That's exactly what I'm saying. It's
I
crazy.
do
live
live and let live.
until
Don't
it comes
blame
to
my
the
sport. I don't
transgenders.
care if you're transgender.
Exactly.
I don't care if you're transgender.
Well, I don't understand.
Go for it.
It's live and
I'm not
let
marrying a
live.
transgender.
Let them go play their
Let them
sports.
live and let live. Absolutely.
Live and let live. You people contradict
That's not
yourselves so
equality.
much.
That's their
It's absurd.
superiority.
Yeah, it's
No,
not
I think you're
superiority.
just
What's going
stupid
on right
because I'm
now,
explaining myself and making sense.
the explanation makes no
Right, let me-
sense.
Transgenders
I saw
absolutely should live
Stacia
and let
wanting-
live. They should not participate in sports.
Let's
It's called a
Stacia-
boundary.
Let Stacia talk. Stacia, you wanted to say something?
You're just all walking contradictions. It's crazy that you can even say something like that. You guys are all fighting with each other about live and let live, and we're having an entire conversation about trans people and their ability or lack of ability to be in sports. So it's wild to watch him with the cigarette, like think he's all pompous, and you over there acting like
he smokes. What's wrong with that?
Hey, I'm the only one here who is consistent. I said I don't care if you people go in and beat the tar out of women. I don't care.
Yeah.
Go do it. They voted for it. I think they need a taste of their own medicine. I think it's good for them. And maybe some of this madness will stop if they actually have to take.
You know what? He's right. I mean, all it takes is for an MMA fight. You got some big 6'5" fucking tonk fucking man who's now a woman, right? In a ring with quite a buffed up woman, and picture the scene. The fight starts, ding, ding, ding. 10 seconds later, the girl is probably unresponsive or passed out from a chokehold. And the thing is, they're going to clap and be like, oh, yeah, that's great, that's great. Oh, look, trans women are making history. But then the poor biological woman is on the floor, breathless, and probably about to be carted off on a fucking stretcher to the hospital. And they're still going to be okay and vote and still try and fight to have more sports for transgenders to be in. I don't know. Just, like I said, just have your own section, have your own leagues, right? No one will fucking watch them. I said it before and I'll fucking say it again. No one will watch the transgender shit other than transgenders themselves.
Accountability and deal with the consequences of their own voting.
You're actually insane. You're in
Stop.
your
I want to make it very
Ju-
clear. I don't care that you're transgender. I genuinely don't care if today you're a woman, tomorrow you're a man, the next day you want to identify as a cat or a dog. I really don't. Like, it's not my issue. But when you make it my issue, when you want to play in my sport, I was a tennis player my whole life. If a man came along who identified as a woman.
Why was that bitch laughing? She's laughing at if you want to be this, I want to be that. You are literally a man dressed as a woman. How is that a laughing matter when you are literally more fucking ridiculous than what she said? Like, it's crazy. Everything that is mentioned tonight from everyone in this panel, it could be the most ridiculous thing ever. Yet still, you laugh and you are a trans woman. Woman, apparently.
And who I will respect as a woman, I will respect your pronouns, but you want to now eradicate women's sports. Now it's my problem too. As long as it's not my problem and you will do you, live exactly. Thank you.
Just live and let live, man. We'll just be hippies. And
okay, let me ask. I want to end by asking Julie.
That's amazing.
Okay, I want to end by asking Julie, because Julie, you've been talking about feminism for decades. We're now in a place, a strange place, I think, where women have more freedom to do all the things that maybe previous generations of women did not have freedom to do. And many, including me, actually, think that's a very good step forward. The only downside to this is that birth rates around the world are beginning to plummet to dangerously low levels.
I mentioned this earlier.
And Elon Musk keeps warning that if they carry on like this, it's going to be a very, very serious problem for the future of the planet. So let me just ask you, Julie, when you look at the progress that feminism has made, you can see so many ways that women's rights have been promoted in a better way. But are you concerned about the dropping birth rates and the fact that women no longer, because so many more are going out to work and everything else and prioritizing work perhaps over family, that birth rates ultimately are obviously going to reduce, and that ultimately that could be a very self-defeating thing for the planet?
We need to pay attention.
It's going to be a bad thing for the planet.
The fact that many women, when they have children, have no support, no childcare, feckless fathers who leave if they're there in the first place, where there is very little.
Not all fathers leave their kids. I mean, she probably doesn't mean to say it in that way, but the fact that she said it, did she say all fathers or did she not specify that most fathers, some fathers, like, leave their kids? But she just said fathers leave their kids. I haven't. I've not left my kids.
Maternity leave, hardly any financial security, particularly if that woman is in an abusive relationship and can't rely on that second wage coming into the home. So have a look at what will make it more attractive and feasible for women to have babies. And also have a look at the women who are choosing not to have babies because they don't want to be hitched to and trapped with a man who, quite frankly, isn't her.
I honestly believe that women trap men more than men would like to trap women in pregnancies just to hold on to the relationship or the marriage. I honestly believe that.
The love of her life because of his behaviour and because of his shortcomings. That's what we need to be doing.
I don't understand a fucking word she just said then. She was blabbing on about how she's there. I don't know what the fuck she's talking about. I think she's just having a little rant and I zoned out because I don't get it. She's just fucking bitching, just a bitch. Something about women, or I don't know.
Okay, Stassi, I want to ask you a final question. Emily, I'll come to you and Andrew for final word in a minute. But Stassi, it just struck me as a question I wanted to ask you. How do you feel about drug cheats in sport? You know, when people are caught doping to enhance their performance, how do you feel about that?
They should be disqualified.
Obviously, you know how I feel about that. You're baiting me to twist this around on the trans issue. And
I've no idea how you feel about it. I've never asked you. I've never asked you before.
You see, everything is all about attacking her fucking position, the way that she lives her life, right? Okay. He asked a question, how do you feel about drugs and body enhancement with the drugs in sports? And then they went straight to fucking, oh, I know what this is going to be about because I'm transgender. Like, they have to make it all about them all the fucking time. This is the thing about transgenders, is you can just say something which is harmless and they'll feel, oh, wait there, is he attacking me? Oh, he's attacking me. He's attacking me. And they just fucking have a little shitty moment about it. It was a simple question and she made it all about her and her fucking feelings.
What do you feel about it?
Obviously, I'm not in support of people taking drug enhancements to do better in sports.
But why? Why are you not in support of that, given it just gives them an unfair advantage, which you want for trans athletes? What's the difference?
I see exactly what they're trying to do, and I'm not walking into it. It's very clear where my stance is with trans people. I don't support. I just think that you're trying to walk me into something, and it's not going to work for me.
You're damn fucking right. I reckon what he was trying to walk her into is the fact that if you can take drugs to build your body up in sports, what he's trying to say is he was going to probably reverse it onto him and be like, look, if that's the case and you said yes, that is fine for people to use drugs, then you're literally saying that it's okay for biological men dressed as women to go into women's sports and beat the fucking shit out of them.
So you don't support the enhancement of performance through illegal drugs. Okay. That's good. We're halfway there, I think. Emily.
Exactly. You're halfway there. Yeah. You're halfway there. Now we've got to go to the transgender men in women's sport. That's the other half. But you believe that's okay. So do you see where the fucking shit is the contradiction?
Piers, I just want to bring up a point that, and personally, I don't know the stats. I'd be very curious into looking into it. But I think it would be remiss to not mention the fact that many, many women, personally I know a bunch, but I want to see the stats on it, are trying to have kids that are doing rounds of IVF, spending all of their money that they've saved up trying to have a kid, are infertile, are having miscarriages, never got their period. I think we also have a really serious health crisis going on, at least in the United States. I can't speak about the UK, that Bobby Kennedy is very well aware of, about hormones in the foods that are making it a lot harder for women to have children, because I know many, many women who would love to have a big, beautiful family, but can't even conceive their first child. So I don't know if it's necessarily everyone making a decision to not have kids, rather a health problem. And I'd advise everyone to look into that too.
It's totally absurd. So first of all, the reason they need IVF and things like this, because they defer families till they're in their 30s, right? It's not healthy for women to start having babies in their 30s. No. Not a great.
Hey, I don't know why you're fucking screaming, fucking chinny chin chin. You can't even fucking carry a kid. You have no uterus. Yeah? You have probably something there that is now folded in to make a makeshift fucking Virginian that probably can't be fucked by another penis, and you look down at it and think, oh, look at me fucking weirdly shaped fucking muff. You can't get pregnant. Why the fuck are you getting involved in this shit?
Idea, yes. True. Yeah, not only is it true,
I have a 24-year-old friend who can't get pregnant.
Statistically prove it. The exception doesn't make the rule. The truth of the matter is, you can even look at infant mortality rates. And in the United States, we have some of the highest in the world, and that is correlated directly to the fact that women are aged out of their 20s when they're having children. You can even see this in other nations as well. Back over to the TERF's argument, she says, well, wait a second, we should really be deferring to women and incentivizing women for more stuff that women want. We do this all the time. We defer to everything that is that they want. By the way, you have free tuition. You do get all sorts of free health care. And by the way, it's the poor people who have the most amount of children, not the middle class or the rich who do family planning. So this idea that you're just going to give the idea that you're just going to give women money and that's going, or some type of support in this way, and that's going to be what moves them towards children, is not true. Usually it's things like religion, religiosity, your key component to traditionalism, your idea of community has nothing to do with family leave. It has nothing to do with that. Never has the birth rate's been dropping like this, like a rock, especially since the 1900s, right? But even in the 1800s. But now, since birth control especially, and women's liberation, the sexual revolution, it has dropped so drastically, we can't even reproduce the population. These aren't answers. You're not answering any problems. None.
It's just because of men like you.
Okay.
Yeah, it's because of men like me.
Yeah, men like him and like you. Yeah. It's funny, actually, because there was a time in the UK where 14, 15, 16-year-olds were getting pregnant. Literally, like, teenage pregnancy back in the day in the UK was fucking high. It was high. And now TikTok came along, and now the fucking teenage pregnancies are now dropped. Because now the teenagers are now addicted to their phones, swiping on fucking shit talk, watching all these fucking trends and dances and ice bucket challenges and shit. And they're too busy now to fucking fuck. So it's good. It's good. It's stopping teenage pregnancy. However, it is now making teenagers addicted to their screens. So, yeah. That is TikTok for you. And it won't be long until they're really addicted to their screens, switching over to the laptops, and then making it on the big fucking screen doing OnlyFans.
No, it's men like me.
It's coming.
The ones who actually reproduce. It's because of men like me who actually reproduce. I get it. That makes sense.
So what do you suggest? Should women just start like
can you reproduce? Do you even have a uterus to reproduce?
Exactly. They just go all this shit thinking, oh, girl power. And she has nothing that a girl has. Right? The girl in red. I'll call it a girl just to, be polite. Right? But the bitch in the red with the fucking Chinese phone book, right? She has no no parts of her body that women have. She has no tits. She has no vagina. Yeah, no uterus. Okay? No periods. Okay? Nothing. No menopause. No, none of that. No, you can't have that. And the audacity of going... no, fuck off.
Do you even have a uterus to reproduce?
She doesn't have an uterus.
What were you saying? I'm sorry.
No, I just don't understand. What do you think is the solution? Women should just like kind of settle in their young 20s and just start popping out babies, even if they haven't necessarily met someone that's compatible for them yet, or
I
vice
thought you were in
versa.
an antinatalist language, popping out babies. Oh, they're slaves to the stove, popping out babies. No, I think that from a societal view, we can
I don't do the language.
We can have
I've got to go.
I'm
really late. I've got to go. Sorry, everyone.
Right,
I've got to go.
You know what, Julie? Everyone's going to go because we've reached the end of the panel. The only sadness for me is we can't all go and have a drink together because I think we'd all get on great over a few pints in a nice English pub. But maybe we'll leave that little treat for another time.
A nice English pub.
Thank you all very much indeed for joining us.
Not a rundown one.
Piers Morgan Uncensored.
So, yeah. The audacity of that fucking Chinese phone book. I don't know. No one had arguments. It was, I don't know. It wasn't really fucking. What can I say? So there we go. Andrew Wilson at his best, tearing down free feminists. Now, Piers Morgan didn't put much into it. I think he was more observing it. Do you know what? I think Andrew Wilson had it all. He was speaking for Piers as well. Piers didn't even need to be involved. They never answered any questions that Andrew was throwing, and it was an absolute fucking mess. What can I say? I really did enjoy that. That was probably one of the best debates I've seen in a while now, actually. So I'm glad that you guys were here to watch it with me, and I'm so happy that you guys came and watched it. So this is me saying goodbye. I just want to thank everyone again for coming, showing me this immense amount of support. It really does mean a lot to me. So until then, let's roll the outro. Cheerio.
Let the good times roll. Yeah. Let the good times roll. Let it roll, let it roll. Let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. Yeah. Let the good times roll. Let it roll, let it roll. Let the good times roll. Let the good times roll. Everywhere that I go, shook no memory lane. Life was nothing but loss. Still it is to this day. Reminiscing those good times. Wishing nothing would change. I'm feeling great. No matter if there's sunshine or rain. Everywhere that I go, shook no memory lane. Life was nothing but loss. Still it is to this day. Reminiscing those good times. Wishing nothing would change.